this video, I'll be demonstrating how to thicken a drink to a level 4, extremely thick consistency for someone with dysphagia. To do this, I am going to need a tinner thickener. Each thickener provides a set of instructions including measurements according to each level. For this demonstration, I will be using a measuring cup to measure out my liquid, which you can see I have filled up with some squash. Alternatively, you can use a measuring jug. I will also be using a dry cup, a fork, a teaspoon, and finally my tin of thickener. I am going to make a level 4 extremely thick drink using Nuteless Clear. To make the drink to level 4 extremely thick, I will need to use 7 scoops of powder to 200 ml of squash. If you're using another brand of thickener, the quantities of powder and liquid may be different, so make sure you follow the quantities stated on the label. So I'm going to measure out 7 flat scoops of powder and pour this into a dry cup. It's really important to make sure that the cup is dry because as soon as the thickener comes into contact with liquid, it reacts instantly. It's also important to put the lid back on the thickener straight after use as the powder can absorb moisture from the air and become lumpy. I've chilled this squash in the fridge in advance and would advise that when thickening other cold drinks that you do the same, as this will improve the taste as opposed to room temperature squash. I am now going to pour the 200 ml of squash into the cup containing the thickener and stir instantly. I'm going to stir quickly to avoid any lumps forming. I'm making sure to stir around the edges to combine all the powder with the liquid, and I am using a fork rather than a spoon because I find it easier to get into the edges of the cup, but if you find it easier to use a spoon, that's fine also. Once I've made sure that everything is mixed in, I will set this aside for about 2 minutes to allow the thickener to work. If you're thickening a drink that has milk in it, this will take longer, possibly up to 10 minutes. So I am going to set this aside and come back in 2 minutes. Now that I have left the drink to thicken for 2 minutes, it's time to just make sure that the drink is of the correct consistency. I'm just going to give this another quick stir to make sure it's all mixed in. You should now be able to see that there are no lumps. You'll notice that the liquid is thick enough to hold its shape on a spoon, and if I tilt it and give it a slight flick, it will slide off the spoon. If the drink is lumpy, don't attempt to add more liquid or more thickener as this won't work. Simply start again. You can try these thickening methods with any drink, however some drinks are going to be more suitable for thickening than others. For instance, a thickened hot chocolate is going to taste more natural than a thickened cup of tea. If you're thickening cold drinks such as fizzy or squash, these are best served chilled. And if it's a hot day and you fancy an ice lolly, this is still possible. A normal ice lolly wouldn't be suitable for someone with dysphagia because as it melts in their mouth, it reduces back to a thin liquid. So to make this suitable, you simply thicken the fruit juice to the level that you need, and you pour this into an ice lolly mould and freeze it. And then as your ice lolly melts, it melts back to the thickness that it was before freezing. If you like this video, follow us on Facebook where we post regular updates on our training courses, and we share lots of useful and interesting information such as patient stories and recipes that pass these IDDSI tests. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram, or you can send us an email at dhc.dysphasiatraining@nhs.net.